The following is a paid political announcement.
Lifelong Democrat Diana Florence served for 25 years as a Manhattan prosecutor under DA Robert Morgenthau. She put criminals away, stood up for victims, and protected our streets. Now, Diana is challenging failed Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg as an independent because it's time for a DA who fights for our families, not criminals. That's why Diana has won the support of organized labor like the steam fitters, plumbers, and ironworkers, everyday New Yorkers who want a DA they can trust. Manhattan needs a DA who will do the job, prosecute crime. That's Diana Florence. Under Alvin Bragg, crime is up and prosecutions are down. Bragg doesn't prosecute crime. He plays partisan politics. Bragg failed to protect women and failed to protect workers. As a prosecutor, Diana Florence won groundbreaking convictions, fighting against corruption, domestic violence, wage left, and daily working conditions. She's always been a partner of unions, community groups, and to cops like us. For Manhattan District Attorney, vote for Diana Florence. Diana4DA.com. Paid for by Diana for Manhattan DA.
It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist T.J. McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's T.J. McCormick.
Good morning, family. Hello there. It is Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, all around the country on the Red Apple Audio Networks and broadcasting from the studios of 77 WABC right here in Midtown East in Manhattan. Good morning. 7 minutes past the hour. Yes. All right, so listen to that. Love that. That song is perfecto for this time of morning. It's a gift to anyone out there on the road who might be driving and you find that nice patch of highway, nobody in front of you. Boom! Radar Love. Perfect. Yes, you know when Bill is at the board, when he just starts messing with the levels. Woo! Good morning, good morning, good morning. And good evening out there in the West Coast. Good evening on the West Coast. Speaking of the West Coast, boy, Bill, you know when the hell I'm about to just start talking. That was really well done. Holy God. Maybe it's because I assumed like the crucifixion position. I assumed the cross. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Speaking of the West Coast, this Katie Porter, this beast of a human being, this absolute, just unappealing, gross, nasty. How about some personal accountability? How about some intellectual honesty from the people along the West Coast, California, where this woman is woman, air quotes. I tell you, every time I see Katie Porter, I think she's the trans Congress member, but she's not in Congress anymore, right? She's out. She was she had a cup of coffee as a senator, right? I know she's running for governor. She had been in the Congress. Forgive me. I sound so amateurish to not know exactly what her gig is right now. But she's just gross. And for all the talk and all the stuff about Trump and his bluster and Trump and his convictions and all the stuff about Trump is, don't you have enough of a bench in California of Democrats to be your standard bearers, to be your candidates for governor, to be your Congress members? Don't you have a deep, you have the what, second largest or the largest population in America, right there with Texas, isn't it? Isn't it? New York, Texas, California. You're at least in the top 3 of population. And this vile pig is the best you can do to be front running for governor? This disgusting, air quotes, woman who shouts at, demeans and humiliates staff members. Katie Porter from the New York Post. I mean, we've all heard. Yeah, actually, you know what, Bill, do me a favor. While I'm yapping over here, can you take a look? I sent you a cut last night of Katie Porter. Yeah, just have a look while I'm yammering. But Katie Porter was exposed. She's the one we all know. We've all seen the clips for the last few days. And, of her doing her Zoom interview conversation from a couple of years ago, and also the more recent interview with the CBS reporter that she wanted to sort of dip out of because the reporter was, God forbid, doing her job. This very, very professional, kind, engaging reporter was asking her questions and asked her actually a really interesting question.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election? Yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before.
Not anymore.
Not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
But you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I
think
feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written.
It's a really smart question.
We've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it.
Yeah, I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. You know what?
You're not going to do the interview with them.
No,
but I want
like
to be governor.
Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care. I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation with you. Ask me about every issue on this list.
There is nothing pleasant about any interaction with this cow.
You're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
You know, yeah, she's just so disagreeable, and not just in the literal sense. And by the way, this is not just purely a political thing that I'm kicking into here. This is about again, we talk about the state of the country. We talk about, and I look at at intellectual honesty. I'm all about people just, sort of living up to the standards that they set for other people. How in the world in one of the top 3 states, population, economy, everything that California is, let alone population of Democrats. How in the sweet feathery Jesus is that thing a front runner and had been an incumbent elected official? I'm absolutely blown away. And I know
air pollution and other problems, and the state could lose. Get out of my shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that. It's
hold it right there. Hold on. You see now, that's beautiful. If you remember this clip, thank you so much, Billy. If you remember this clip, she's sitting there doing a Zoom. And this was, I think the person back in her very well appointed kitchen. And if you look at this particular Katie Porter, you know, her kitchen has got to be well appointed or she's going to be fuming. But Katie Porter is barking at a staffer who's wearing a mask. So it must have been back in the COVID days, or she just demands masks. Who knows? But what's beautiful is if you heard the staffer in the background, she's actually saving her ass and correcting her, respectfully correcting her, because she was talking to Jennifer Granholm, who at the time was the Secretary of Energy for Joe Biden. And so they're doing a Zoom, sort of an in-house Department of Energy talking with a friendly senator. And when this staffer jumps in, she's doing it to correct the senator. She's doing her job. She's correcting the dopey senator for being wrong about something to do with electric vehicles. And not only that, see, and here's the nuance that really made me want to bring this up one more time. She's barking at this staffer, and she's barking while still facing the Zoom screen. She's facing her camera. She's not doing it in a bubble, in a vacuum. She's talking to if not Secretary Granholm, who is vile in and of herself, but certainly staff at the Department of Energy. So here is a United States senator absolutely screaming the daylights out of her staffer in front of Joe Biden's energy secretary, or at least her staff. And you remember that speech that Joe Biden gave where he was talking about bullying and treating people with respect. And if I ever find out, you're gone. Katie Porter should be gone yesterday just for being disgusting. She, and again, she is divorced from her ex-husband, who he said and 3 children. Oh my God. That means at least 3 times he had to with this one. And go take a look and just ew and just ugh and just bah. He described in a restraining order. Way to go, California. He described in a restraining order how she once dumped steaming mashed potatoes on his head, which he had to then he got scalded on his head because she dumped mashed potatoes on his head. Orange County based, born in Iowa, 2 stints as representative for California in 2019 and 2025. Or between 2019 and 2025. Could have sworn she served time as senator after, what's her name passed away. So, I know Maureen is listening in Sherman Oaks. I know, Maureen on Dickens in Sherman Oaks is listening, and she had reached out saying that she was going to be tuning in tonight, this morning. And tonight for her. This has just got to drive you nuts, Mo, huh? Knowing that just about 20 miles to your southeast in Orange County, this thing has been serving the people. I mean, the account, it was easier for her to do these things to the quieter ones, the more soft-spoken staff who wouldn't be like, hey, that's not okay. Said a former Wounded Warrior Fellow and Navy veteran who served in Porter's office for 2 years. She said, going after the people you think aren't going to fight back speaks a lot about a person's nature. And she went on, this former staffer said, especially in an arena like politics, which you're here to serve people. Actually, you're here to serve those quiet people even more. Boy, listen to where that staffer's heart is. How right is that? Public service is supposed to be a service, supposed to be of service, and you're supposed to be grateful for the people putting you there and not barking at the people who work for you while you're there. And anyway, so I happened to flip open the Post, New York Post, yesterday, and there's this a bunch of photos of this just repulsive person, Katie Porter, and just the notion that California, beautiful state, just being absolutely shredded by its elected officials. And then here's Gavin Newsom, who has been all over the place, just flexing and floating and doing his thing and getting out there and talking, doing his, we're going to punch him in the face. That son of a bitch, go punch him in the face and because they don't understand what we're doing here. And you, Mr. President, you're going to have to answer to, because and we are the Golden State and don't like what Texas is doing. So we're going to. So Gavin Newsom has been, quote unquote, punching back at the quote unquote son of a bitch, Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan, God forbid, called him out. Joe Rogan apparently Newsom was on a YouTube show called Higher Learning the other day, and he went on the attack against Rogan. Called him a BS artist. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Rogan called Newsom a BS artist who ruined California. And he said, Joe, why don't you have me on the show? He says it's a one way, and he has guests coming on attacking and bashing, but he won't have me on the show, said Newsom. Joe Rogan takes all comers. I go way back with Joe Rogan. I go way back to the 80s doing stand-up with Joe Rogan. And I can tell you, Joe has got an ego. And he's very good at what he does. He is a brilliant podcaster. He's a better podcaster than his stand-up. Stand-up is okay. He's really full of himself. But that ego thing has definitely worked to make him this massive success as a podcaster. But he takes all comers. He's not afraid of Newsom. So, and all Rogan has been pointing out is what people have been pointing out about California and Newsom for like ever now, about how his policies have just destroyed California. I mean, my God, what a gorgeous state. My God, what a massive economy. What an incredible place California could be again. If not for, again, one-party rule. Looking at states just crumble under one-party rule, guys and girls. Unbelievable. New York, Massachusetts, California. I mean, one-party leftist rule is just the worst. I mean, just, you need some point and counterpoint. You need some balance of opinion. You have to have some balance, some alternative voice that makes a difference. You must have it. Anyway, that's what's cooking over. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. We're here in New York, 26 after the hour, and talking to the entire country or all over the world on WABCRadio.com. And in the next hour, we are going to once again have our conversation with Charlie Sheen by popular demand. Bunch of people missed it, and it was a big get, and so we're gonna do that again in the next hour. And I got to say, I was watching the Netflix show that he refers to in the interview, his doc. And it's a docu-series. It's a story. It's his story, and it really good. And yeah, man, I mean, as somebody who's fought some bad addiction demons myself, I'm just rooting for this guy. And he looks really well too. He looks good. Looks to be in a good place. I think he's 7 or 8 years sober now, give or take. And that's wonderful. Always rooting for those underdogs. But I highly recommend the book, the book of Sheen, and AKA Charlie Sheen, the Netflix show. Could not recommend that any higher. It's brilliant. And speaking of Hollywood and Maureen, frankly, in Sherman Oaks, something else that went under my radar, and I'm embarrassed to say it went under my radar, because it's a world that once a comedian, always a comedian, I'd like to think. But it was the first 25 years of my professional life was I was a stand-up comic and an actor, and this big controversy over the last week or two that went right by me. And again, I'm embarrassed to say it went right by me. It's all about this Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia. And the comedians who perform there have been catching hell for performing there. Guys like Aziz Ansari, Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, who I think Dave Chappelle jumped into another stratosphere with those last few Netflix specials, where I really think he is the best stand-up. I mean, there I am about to say it because I've said it before, but I'm wondering, can I double down on that? Is he the best stand-up comic? I mean, in terms of prolific, in terms of funny, and in terms of actually taking comedy to another place to make his statements, but staying funny.
To the transgender community, I am more than willing to give you an audience, but you will not summon me. I am not bending to anybody's demands.
See? And he goes on to be really, really funny. Technically superb as a comedian. And just, I think he's the best. And I toured with Dave. I toured with Dave back in the 90s. We did a college tour together. Me, Dave, and another guy in a van. Me, Dave, and another comedian in a van. And, yeah, like he was 18 or 19 at the time, maybe. And I just think these last few Netflix specials have put him on another planet. And I mean, there's still that unbelievable, that level, that Eddie Murphy, Carlin, before all of the unfortunate crimes, the awful crimes, Bill Cosby can't be denied. He was, in fact, one of the absolute best storytelling comics ever, if not the greatest storytelling comic. Anyway, so this Riyadh Comedy Festival has a bunch of people way up in arms. And, so listen, let me actually, I totally screwed up. I missed my first break. I plowed right through it. So do me a favor. Let me take a quick break. We come back. I want to talk about this Riyadh Comedy Festival. And of all people, Jimmy Kimmel getting all high and mighty. Jimmy Kimmel, Mr. Judgment, judging guys for, going and doing their thing. What a jerk. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, 1-800-848-9222. Talking about a lot of stuff. Call me with whatever you got. We'll be right back.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, all around the country on Red Apple Audio Networks and broadcasting from 77 WABC here in New York. It's 38 past the hour, 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Also, so we were talking about Maureen over there listening in Sherman Oaks. We also have a bunch of the family over on X, on Twitter. And it is a bunch over there at TJ McCormick, and all of them. Wow, look at the crew over here. Unbelievable. Look at this. We've got George Rock over there. We've got Catherine and Will in South Dakota. Mayberry Sheriff are like Barney Fife. Barney Fife, listen. Well, Aunt. Thanks for listening there, Barn. Why don't you go let Otis out and see if he's all dried up? Maybe he can go get us some sandwiches. Got Stephen Corey. We've got Ellen. Oh, our dear friend. We're going to have Ellen Karras back on the show like immediatamente. Got to have Ellen Karras back. Ellen, if you're up and listening, text me right now. My comedian friend, Ellen. Ellen Karras, if you're up and listening, text me immediately because we got to talk. We got to have you on if you're up. We got to have you on, talk about this Riyadh Comedy Festival. And let's see. Yeah. So anyway, Marianne is there and Catherine and Donna Marie. So thank you everybody for listening and for being there. So you know what? Let's go to Al in Yonkers before we get too far away from Katie Porter. Good morning, Al.
Good morning, TJ. Yeah, Katie Porter, she just served a couple terms as Congresswoman.
Mm-hmm.
She's originally from Iowa,
yeah.
And I believe she entered the primary against Senator Schiff this past year and lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's going to occur, she probably was the front runner, but this definitely is a bad indicator for her. I know there's a popular Hispanic mayor. His name was Antonio
Villaraigosa. Antonio Villaraigosa.
Yes.
Yeah. He's
correct.
Yeah,
he's
mm-hmm.
in the race.
Mm-hmm.
He's formidable, and we've had so many great governors in California. We had Jerry Brown,
mm-hmm.
Ron Reagan, Pat
mm-hmm.
Brown, Earl Warren.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say the greatest one there was Ronald Reagan, but I wanted to say just quickly
sure.
with Governor Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a shame because Jerry Brown, his predecessor, his second time as governor, meaning Jerry Brown, he left Governor Newsom with a large surplus.
Big surplus.
And Governor Newsom buried it as a deficit now for the state. So
yeah, no, it was it was right about when I left Los Angeles. I was there for that most recent Jerry Brown. I was there I was there when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor after the recall of his predecessor. And, it was an interesting time, but I witnessed like the precipitous downfall of Los Angeles and therefore the rest of California. Yeah. And it really is a shame because what it really is like a lot of people who've been there and lived there and stuff, a lot of us say the same thing. Beautiful state. Love the state. Can't stand, the politics and just unfortunately so many of the people. But the state itself, Al, is just stunning and gorgeous and really
it's beautiful.
It really is. And all the resources there and all of the nature, when you're the governor of California, you are the steward of something really special in America.
That's right.
And it shouldn't be such a vanity job. It should be it should be a mission. It should be a calling to be the governor of California. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had great governors like, Governor Reagan, served 2 terms.
Sure.
And such a great job.
And great mayors. Willie Brown was a corrupt, creepy, dirty guy who, got to make out with Kamala Harris. But Willie Brown, the mayor of San Francisco. And you had guys like Richard Riordan, in Los Angeles. And, before him, I'm blanking on the mayor before him.
Tom Bradley.
These guys.
I don't know if he was,
and a lot of them were business people and they just applied that Richard Riordan was a businessman and I believe so was Bradley. So, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, it is a shame what's happening to California and it's dangerous because California goes too far south, man. The country's going to be hurting.
Definitely. And, Riordan, I believe was originally a New Yorker.
What? Wow. That's news to me. That I did not know. Really?
Yeah, I think he was from possibly Westchester, but
I gotta look into that
another time.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting one. Al, thank you, man. You always make the show better when you call in. Thank you, buddy. Good guy. Let's see, what is it? 43 minutes past the hour here on Another Side of Midnight, and the Riyadh Comedy Festival. So they're all. Who is it? Again, it was. Aziz Ansari and Kevin Hart, Pete Davidson. Now, people were giving Pete Davidson. He's the tall, lanky kid who has dated some of the most stunning, eligible bachelorettes and out from Ariana Grande. Oh, goodness gracious! I mean, look, these are not at the level of Kristi Noem. Okay, we're not talking Kristi Noem type women. Okay, that's rarefied air. I'm on the record many times as saying, again, in case anybody ever missed it, one of these days I'm going to get around to the idea of denouncing my nationality, denouncing my citizenship, and turning myself into Kristi Noem. Just turn myself in. Bend the knee, as it were. And that would be interesting. Okay, anyway, so my wife knows about my crush on Kristi Noem. That's okay. It's okay. The bombshell knows. The bombshell feels no pressure. The bombshell, my wife feels no threat from any living, breathing woman for 2 reasons. A, because she's a bombshell. She has my heart. She saved my life. She's a stunner. She's a dancer. She's British. My wife is the stuff. Okay. Yeah. She gave me my 2 girls. She is my girl. And she's from Liverpool in the UK. and they'll cut you. My wife's got implements hidden all around the house. She'll pipe you, which is a great verb for crack you over the head with a pipe. I'll pipe you. I had somebody threaten me with that one time. I was driving a cab. I was driving a taxi. That was my day job when I started doing stand-up. I was a cab driver in Westchester, which counts. It counts. I was a cab driver in Westchester, and I picked up this drunk guy, and he was like in and out of consciousness. And at one point, he just leans up and he goes, "You know, I could kill you. I'll pipe you. I got a pipe right here in my sock, and I'll pipe you." And that has always stayed with me, that verb of "I'll pipe you." And that story ended really wonderful for me. He prepaid me. He paid me when he got in the cab, like just threw a wad of bills in the front seat, right? And when he threatened me, he passed out like a minute later again. So I drove directly to a police station. I went inside, about 3 or 4 cops came out, knocked on the window, woke him up, pulled him out of the cab, and said, "Did this guy? They said, where you going?" They said, "Okay, well, your ride ends here." And they asked me. They said, "Did he pay you yet?" And as I was about to say, "Well, yes, officer, yes, he did," they told me, "Okay, shut up. Pay this guy. What does he owe you?" And the cop said, "What does he owe you? About 100? Probably owes you. You probably owe him about $100. You got $100? Pay the kid $100." And the guy gave me like another 100. It's beautiful. And they made him walk out of town. It was great. 1-800-848-9222. So, Riyadh, I'm in a bit of an ADD type situation. So they're giving Pete Davidson a hard time because his father died. He was a firefighter. Pete Davidson's from Staten Island. And like so many of our bravest, his dad from Staten Island. Pete's father died on 9/11, and the Saudi influence and, the role that Saudis played. People are giving Pete Davidson all this garbage about going to Riyadh. And I don't know if Bill Burr played it too. I'm not exactly sure if Bill Burr played, but I know Bill has been speaking up about it. Anyway, so Aziz Ansari, he's that kid from the South who has, I believe, Pakistani or Bangladeshi roots, but his aunt, I believe, lived in Saudi for a while. So Jimmy Kimmel, so he goes on Jimmy Kimmel, and Kimmel is pressing him on this, right? And Kimmel says, they have a pretty brutal regime. And Kimmel's asking Ansari, as if it's any of his flipping business, why would you take their money? I mean, the audacity and the arrogance of Jimmy Kimmel has just been like as thick as, oh my God. And so Kimmel says to him, quote, people, a lot of comedians especially, are very upset because the people who paid the comedians to come to this are not good people. It's a pretty brutal regime. They've done a lot of horrible, horrible things. It's a guy who decided to make jokes. He decided to touch the third rail about Charlie Kirk's assassination. I know he didn't make fun of Kirk's assassination. I know. But, and 2 weeks later, he's just cracking us all up, sitting in judgment of, comedians going and making money. When we come back, we're going to dig into this a little bit further and see where you stand on whether or not these comedians are doing the right thing by going and accepting money to perform in the Saudi kingdom. I don't know. 1-800-848-9222. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick. We shall return in just a moment. Be right back.
All night long, This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Yep. Good morning. Hello there. Good evening over on the West Coast and everywhere in between. Hello. It's Another Side of Midnight. Me, TJ, Bill and Tony, help me out here, carrying me the entire way, helping me out. No Bill and Tony, no show. So grateful for those fellas. And, you guys all for listening. It's the best. This is the absolute best time of night, of morning to be doing this kind of thing. Just going and opining and talking. And again, by the way, 1-800-848-9222. Anything you ever want to talk about. This is not necessarily something where you must want to, drill down on something that I put. I really, if it's burning a hole in your pocket, if something's driving you nuts, if like you flip open a paper and see a beast like Katie Porter, and it just pushes your buttons and you got to talk, because that's how I came. I was gonna be talking about how anybody who ever thought that Trump was gonna get the Nobel Prize, it was never, ever gonna happen. That was just not in the cards. Totally a fairy tale, a fantasy that he would ever get the Nobel Prize. No matter who's pushing. And that's why, by the way, all of a sudden you've got everybody from Emanuel, from Ari Emanuel? From Emanuel, the former Obama chief of staff and Chicago mayor, to other Democrats are kind of sniffing around the perimeter of congratulating and thanking Trump for brokering this Middle East peace deal. Now they've got the cover of, well, okay, he didn't get the Peace Prize. He's not going to get the Peace Prize. And a year from now, he's not going to get the Peace Prize. He could broker an end to Ukraine, Russia. He could knock that off next week. It won't make a dent. He will never get the Nobel Peace Prize. It's too perfect. The leftists that control that, the classic European liberals, I would never do it. They'll find a reason, they'll find a way, and they'll find a rationale. Donald Trump never, ever gets that Nobel Prize. I'm sorry. Johnny never gets that movie. Johnny never gets that movie. Made me look ridiculous, and a man in my position cannot be made to look ridiculous. 1-800-848, my Godfather. Oh, the Lord, the Godfather always slips in, doesn't he? 1-800-848-9222. So the Riyadh Comedy Festival, is, okay. Would I go? Would I take money? Would I take money to go and perform? Yeah, I would. I would work with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I would work with them. Put it this way. I would want it, and I understand Maureen in Sherman Oaks is furious, and I don't want to cross over an otherwise lovely relationship with Maureen. So, but just to be intellectually honest, I think what the comedians did by bringing the Western art form of comedy over there, I think they helped further the Westernization of a completely backwards facing nation like that. And the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia does have a Western-leaning initiative called Vision 2030. And they are looking to westernize. They're looking to give women more rights, and they're looking to loosen up on religious persecutions and all those sorts of things. And I really think perhaps introducing comedy at that level could maybe open up some doors. I don't know. I wouldn't just take money from them. I'd have to know I was helping some cause. All right, gang, it's another side of midnight. Me, TJ McCormick. When we come back, Charlie Sheen.
It's another side of midnight. 77 WABC. This is another side of midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Joining us here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick on 77 WABC. We have really, for the first time ever, somebody that for everybody listening doesn't need an introduction. I'm very, very happy to welcome Charlie Sheen to the show. Good morning, Charlie. Welcome.
Good morning, TJ. Thank you. Thank you. That's a lovely intro, even though it wasn't supposed to be introed.
Yes, true. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't need one. He doesn't need one, but I'm going to give one because, perfunctory stuff,
I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, listen, man, congratulations on everything going on in your life now. You've got a hit on Netflix, which is reaching a fantastic audience, and which we'll talk about. And you've also got this great new memoir called The Book of Sheen. Congratulations on all of this, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, who would have thought that I checked two boxes for two projects that I've never done before, you know? and just rolling the dice, that they happened at the same time and weren't planned as such.
Really? Oh, okay. Tell me about that. How did it come to be then?
I wasn't like, all right, this is the 1-2 punch that's going to, set the record straight and get everybody's attention. No, it wasn't anything like that. I've been thinking about the book for a long time, but didn't have enough perspective, didn't have enough distance between, all the stuff and the now, and so I just knew, I knew that I would know when the time was right to say yes and sit down and start it. And then this gentleman named Andrew Renzi comes into my life, and I watched a couple of the documentaries that he did. And there was one called Pepsi, Where's My Jet, which I thought was brilliant, right? And the storytelling. And then I was like, well, he's never really done a celebrity doc. And I hate the word celebrity,
right?
Even though I think celebrate is kind of the root word of it, right? Which
sure.
is fine.
Sure.
He'd never done a doc about a well-known actor. How about that?
Okay.
But he did this episode of Untold about Jake Paul that I watched, and I was like, oh, damn. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This guy knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
Like on every front,
Yeah.
And so when we sat down, it just happened to be right around the time that I was planning on starting the book. And it really, they actually kind of fed each other, because the research that Renzi and I did for a year leading up to actually sitting down for those interviews was research that was lending itself to the book as well.
Right. And the book, by the way, again, the book is called The Book of Sheen, a memoir. It reads, your style strikes me a lot like Hunter S. Thompson.
That's amazing. Wow.
There's a really cool beat to how you write. You write like you talk. You talk like you write. You get the sense that a lot of this stuff was hitting you organically in the moment, and it was making its way from your brain to the page in that order in very short time. And it doesn't feel like a ton of editing either. It feels like it just really flowed, and you were just sitting there telling the truth in a really fun way.
That's amazing. Thank you. I'm literally going to call my mom today.
Yeah.
And tell her that you said that.
Yeah.
About Hunter Thompson.
Oh, totally, man. Oh, totally.
That is like a giant high five. Thank you.
No, of course.
Well, that's the reason that I knew I had to write it myself.
Yes.
They had talked about a ghostwriter. I'm like, but then I'm just a storyteller again. And I think that's what separates the book from the doc is, there's a lot of pressure to perform when you're on camera, and be yourself and all that. But you still have to be engaging, entertaining, concise, detailed, right?
Yeah.
But to tell that story or a similar version of it, and you have 2 weeks just by yourself at like 3 a.m. when all the voices are screaming.
Yes. I know those voices. I know those voices.
I mean, they're all me.
Yeah.
They're just different accents of me. So it isn't one of those deals. But no, I love that you've highlighted that the book it's a fun read. It's a fun read, and people aren't reading these days.
Nope.
No,
man. I don't read. I don't read, but I got it. I got the book, and I found myself like tackling it, and in the middle of it, consciously going, "Oh my God, I'm reading."
That's awesome. That is awesome. How about that? We're turning back the clock, man. We're bringing something back.
Well, and I think what people are digging about. I mean, look, the kind of career you have when you're a film star and then you've got the 2.5 Men and this and that, and that's people's living rooms. That's not just like a Q, what do they call it? A Q factor. it's people love you, like people dig you, and they want and they love having you in their living room. And I think when you're going through your trials and your tribulations, I think you have more people rooting for you than the usual celeb. I think a lot of celebs, celebrated actors, I think a lot of people find themselves up against it. People feeling, well, good, knock them down a peg. But I think in your case, because I was living in L.A. when you were hitting some of these low points, I guess you could say. Some of these struggles, these headwinds. I was living in Los Angeles, and I was swimming in some of those circles. I was a stand-up and an actor myself, and
wow.
And I knew some people that were in your universe, and it was really interesting how many people were rooting for you. And so when this book comes out, and it's an honest to God, really cool, fun account of the early days, the beginnings of somebody who would eventually come to endear themselves and find their way into, like, tens of millions of Americans' living rooms every week. I think it's the kind of thing that's just going to just propel this book, and clearly already the Netflix show, into the next level. And so, yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
You're
Wow.
welcome. And so,
Wow.
listen, you start off, though. I think this is what grabs me. You start off opening, you pull back the curtain, curtain opens, and you're already almost dead. Wait. So, give me a little idea. Tell people about why you made that choice, and about your early near death birth experience.
Because I was walking around with that line in my head for like 3 or 4 years. I don't have it perfectly memorized, but on September 3rd, 1965, in New York City at 10:58 p.m., I was born dead. And I thought, okay, now if you think about the two quotes that the book, it's Hemingway and Cheech and Chong, right?
Yep.
So I thought, all right, what supports that? All right, born dead. It just doesn't, a complete oxymoron, right? And then, I had these stuttering problems as a child and into adulthood, and still kind of lurks, it's still there a little bit. And so I wanted to explore that the umbilical strangulation could have been connected to that. I also, I've had a middle name my whole life that people have made fun of. And I've had to always, try to take some false pride, and it's the Irwin with an I, right? Like, that matters. It's still that name, right?
Yeah.
And so I just kind of saw opportunity in that first chapter to talk about that stuff, and also set the tone a little bit. That this is, I wanted people to feel like they were being, or the audience or the reader, like they were going into something that could be described in complete sorrow or darkness or, all of that. But there's humor, and they're like suddenly laughing where they're not sure if they're supposed to be.
Right.
And so I think it kind of sets the tone early on for what to expect. There's no false advertising right off the bat. And even the title was kind of tongue in cheek that I just came up with like a few days before I had my first meeting with the publisher, right? And they're like, well, what do you think? And they said, okay, so we like this title. Do you have anything else? I said, I don't right now.
Yeah.
I said, okay, then let's just keep it until something shows up that beats it.
Yeah. And
nothing did.
Nothing beat it. It works, man. It totally works. It's fun. It's, like you said, it's tongue in cheek. It's bravado-ish from a guy that's obviously turned a really humble corner in life, and is appreciating everything that you have. I think you look at. I get the sense that you look at life as a blessing, as a gift, and you speak and write beautifully about your dad and your mom and your this brood and of a family that you grew up in. And, so really, again, it reads beautifully. Everybody, as if you don't recognize the voice, we're talking to Charlie Sheen here on Another Side of Midnight. And the name of the book that we're celebrating right now is called The Book of Sheen. And October 19th, everybody, just up 95 in New Haven, Charlie will be there in a conversation setting, there at the Schubert Theater on October 19th, 8 p.m. So go and find tickets for that evening's conversation with Charlie Sheen again at the Schubert Theater on October 19th. Charlie, when I think about your public life, you've been public for forever, ever since you showed up next to Jennifer Grey in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is. You were hysterical in that 3-minute moment. That was freaking funny, man. Ever since then, you've been a regular, you've been a constant. But in those funky years, it wasn't always on your own terms, right? So you were kind of thrust into a spotlight, and it wasn't pretty. Look, I'm sober. I went through all my trials and tribulations quietly in a house in Los Angeles, dealing with just my wife in the darkness of alcoholism. I wasn't living out my demons in prime time and on TMZ and other programs. It was just unfortunately, sure. I was starring in that role in my own living room. But anyway, I say that to ask you, does this memoir, in your own words, on your own terms, does this allow you to drive? Did you find this was an opportunity for you to drive your own narrative, to sort of help define yourself now at this point, rather than just let old stories be old stories about you?
Absolutely. No, you nailed it 100%. And just let people in a way that I could really only do on the page. You know what I'm saying? Because the performance aspect of telling stories on camera, you know what I'm saying? Versus I wanted the reader or the audience to feel like they're just in the room with me, or on the road trip with me, or on the relapse with me.
Yeah.
Right there. That kind of a sidecar view of some of the madness, but yeah, and I just wanted to, there's some themes in the book. There's the theme of choices, so many things come down to the things that we, the decisions that we make, and ownership. I think ownership is so important.
Yep.
If you live in a place of blame, you're never going to get to the next moment or the next flashpoint or springboard or just revelatory breakthrough.
Right.
If it stays about the fault of others,
Yeah.
And it's like and it's stuff that we learned in kindergarten.
Yeah. I think it's about ownership, and it's also about gratitude. I think if you're in a state of gratitude, dude, I mean,
absolutely. And it's, maybe my life, right now isn't like how I imagined it. Okay. So based on what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Based on what sliding scale or what rule book or what manual, right?
Yeah.
And
totally.
kind of living life backwards in a way. In some of the superficial, items. Like, I used to live in giant houses,
right,
and now I live in a smaller place,
Right.
I used to own 50 cars.
Yeah.
I own one.
Wow. Sorry, man.
Yeah, but
sorry to hear
how many can I drive at once?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Boy, I tell you what, man. Yeah.
Well, people get a giant house, and then they go out and they spend a ton of money, and they put furniture in every room, right?
Right.
And occupy like 20% of those rooms.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just there for when you give people that first tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the ante room.
Right.
What is an ante room?
Right, yeah,
You know?
yeah. Here's the waiting chamber. Here's the
Exactly.
Right.
Anything with chamber attached to it, you know.
Yeah.
Good things don't happen in that space.
No, good things don't happen in a chamber, and there's not a lot of gratitude in the life of someone, you know,
who's in a place with chambers.
Yeah, right. That's medieval, dude. That's medieval, right? Yeah.
It is medieval. Yeah, you can smell that room just talking about it, right?
Yeah, totally.
So anyway, but it's exactly what you said. It goes back to gratitude, and it's this whole thing about need versus want.
Yeah,
need versus want.
Yeah,
and even just on a very smaller example, I have to some days say, okay, we are on a timeout.
Yeah.
From Amazon. We are on a 1-week timeout.
Yeah.
I don't care if my shoes are falling apart. My shoes aren't falling apart. They never get to that place, right?
Right.
I mean, I have a blessed life that is abundant, and I don't, you know, I'm so grateful because, you know, how many people are as lonely as they've ever been in a mansion? You know, right? I mean, it's just like, and there's that line in there about that Dad was never comfortable in places like that. He preferred, you know, a home.
Yeah.
And then I say something like, you know, the more people rely on their glitz and doubloonary for their identity, the more unidentified they remain.
Yep.
And that's a word I just built. I just said, all right, this is now a word, and I don't care.
I had to look it up. I was like, is this a word? It was brilliant. Doubloonary, man. I mean, it was because it also elicits images of pirates and booty and treasure and
glistening gold, right?
Yes.
Or glinting rather, glinting gold. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh no, it was brilliant. Doubloonary. I mean, I actually told a buddy of mine in the car on the way here to the studio to record this. We were talking. I told him I was going to be talking to you, and I said, "You ever hear the word doubloonary?" And he took a guess, and I was like, "Yeah, that's what he meant." You know, you mentioned your dad.
Awesome.
You mentioned your dad, and I'm just wondering. You know, I'm curious about the role that your dad, your brothers, your sister. What role your mom? What did they play in the process of writing the book? And I'm also curious about your recovery journey. Tell me about the role that they might have played in some of these recent years in your life.
They've been my biggest supporters. You know, they've been the voices of compassion and reason and love. When those were the only voices, you know, they've been just as welcoming and non-judgmental. Because, you know, and I'm sure you experienced this in the past before you finally said, all right, this time's for real, right?
Yeah, yep.
Is the doubt from people, right? And it's not imagined. It's not like they're basing it on, it's not baseless. It's, you know, people get gun shy, right?
Yeah.
Well, someone that says, I'm all right, everything's great, and then it's not great. And it's like, all right, we're doing this again, and then you didn't do it again. And it's just that kind of that revolving door, you know? And so they never left my side. They never gave up on me. And, you know, my mom wrote me something, and I hope she doesn't mind me revealing this. And it's so powerful. I visited them yesterday because I've been on the road, and they kind of been catching glimpses here and there.
You've been all over the place. Yeah, I
have. But my parents don't watch YouTube. I mean, let's face it, right? They're not following my socials. Yeah, I'd be worried. If they were.
Right.
That's a whole nother conversation, right?
Yeah.
So I went there yesterday. It was just a drop in, just to give them a hug, and because they're going on a trip. And then we had a lovely visit. And I when I got home, there's a text from my mom, and she said, "Congratulations, you've become your own best friend.
Ooh.
And I was like, that stopped me. That stopped me in my tracks. And I wrote her back immediately and I said, wow, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your words stunned. I don't know if I said stunned me, but just your words hit home.
What do you think
all the way to the bottom?
What do you think she was contrasting that to, buddy? Because our moms. Like my mom is listening right now to this show. Okay, my mom will send me notes the day, a text after the show, and she'll tell me what she liked from the night before, and I'm moms always pay it as long as we have our moms, and you and I are both blessed to have our moms. As long as we have them, they're always our moms. We are still 14, we're still 8, them. And so, what do you think she was contrasting that to when she said to you, "You're your own best friend"? Congratulations. What do you think?
Well, I think she said. I think she said finally.
Finally. Okay, so finally, you're your own best friend. What do you think?
I think it's about always putting others first, taking care of everybody but me. And I think it was really about that. Just that I've taken the time and the discipline and cleaned up my health. I've lost a lot of weight. I do a lot of good stuff, vitamins and, the whole package, right?
Yeah, totally.
And just being consistent with it.
Because when she sees you, she sees your eyes. When she sees you, she's looking at your skin tone. She's looking at your...
Exactly.
Right? She's looking at her baby.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And she's seen the dower or the kind of the shallow version of that she's seen for so many years,
right?
Right.
Well, you were on the edge at one point, buddy. You were like could have gone either way, man. Right? I mean,
geez, right? And that's the thing I hang on to today is that I've just dedicated it as a reality that the next hit is fatal.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's that real or imagined, debatable or otherwise. That's what I'm going with. The next hit is fatal.
Yeah.
And I see my kids at my funeral.
Yeah.
And I see all the people and it's not like a funeral or a guy gets hit by a train in his car, right?
Right.
Because there's going to be a couple chuckles from the podium, right?
Yes.
Because how do you not see a train coming or hear it? Right.
Yep.
So I mean,
you had all that time to get the car off the tracks.
Thank you.
And you did. So, and thank God you did. And that's what your mom is recognizing.
Exactly. And it's just I think there's another message inside of that give yourself a pat on the back, because I don't know if I'm sure you experience this. We stay, we build momentum, and we're and it's the right kind of momentum, and we're taking care of everything, and we're on time, and we're front and center, and we're the guy people rely on, right? And then but we're not always honoring ourselves in that, because we don't put ourselves first. Especially with children. Do you have kids?
I have 2 teenage daughters. Yeah.
So yeah. But I think it's just carving out a little bit of time for ourselves, just to. Yeah. I heard a guy say years ago. He hopes that his prayer at night was that he hopes to be treated tomorrow exactly how he treated everybody today.
That'll keep you honest, right?
Exactly. Meaning if he was a dick, he's going to encounter that.
Dude, it's because, you know what, and by the way, everybody, we're talking to Charlie Sheen, and the book is The Book of Sheen, and I think honestly, dude, you referred to it like celebrity, celebrated actor. You're celebrating your own story, which deserves to be celebrated because you're on the road to a very happy crescendo, as opposed to like a tragic crash that everybody would have been mourning. So many people, because everybody had just fallen in love with you over those years of great success. And so this Book of Sheen and the program on Netflix, which is AKA Charlie Sheen, it's all a celebration, and it's well deserved. And what I'm getting to though is this: what you just said. It's all about behavior. My sobriety. It's not about not drinking anymore for me. It's not about that. I mean, yes, of course, I can't drink. It's a non-starter, but it's about the behavior. My alcoholism lives in my behavior, because if I'm being lousy to my wife, who saved my life by kicking me out of the house. We were living in Sherman Oaks. We were living in Studio City when I got sober. I got sober in the Valley. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
I used to live in Sherman Oaks. I get it. I know all of that area.
That whole scene. I got sober at my meetings were at a church on Moore Park Street. And, right. Sure. There you go. Right. And, anyway, and so, my behavior today, 20 years into my sobriety, is what defines my sobriety. If I'm a complete jerk for an entire day, I feel like I might as well have started drinking again. So, clearly you're into that notion that it's a blessing. It's about behaving right, and it's about keeping your feet under you and loving yourself and giving yourself a break, right? I mean, it's this dance. It's this daily dance. Of
course. Yeah, and then it's also practicing what we preach. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite expressions, because it's true, is that no one is above common courtesy, right?
Beautiful.
You can't debate that, right? Mm-hmm. No, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
And so did I, just kind of, we tend to review our day, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And did I place myself above common courtesy at any point in these last 12 hours? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. And I also believe in this thing called lunar brain versus solar brain, right?
Oh, that is so Charlie Sheen. Tell me, what is lunar brain versus solar brain? Tell me.
It's about how we think at night versus how we think during the daytime.
Love it.
And I'll blow people up before I'm going to bed, and I wake up and reread it, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
You gotta pause.
And I'm crafting an apology.
Never hit send at night, dude, right? Never hit send.
I know. That's lunar brain, man. Lunar brain is not my friend, But, however, Lunar Brain wrote most of that freaking book. So,
well, this book, I'm telling you, everybody, this book, the Book of Sheen, it's written with it's one of, you said it's kind of like a co-pilot, right? Like a sidecar view into your life. You also get the sense too that you're also telling the reader, hey, look, it's okay to laugh. I'm making fun of this moment. It's okay. Believe me, there's humor in it. I lived through it, and it's okay to laugh in what I'm telling you. The read is, it's not easy in the sense that it's, it's, just nice and little words and all that. It's an easy read in the sense that it's engaging. It's funny. It's deadly truthful. You know that the reader knows that you are telling the truth because there's no other version of this that could exist. It's all real and organic. And again, you're a guy that people, I think, just inherently root for. And now that you're in a recovery and you're in a resurgence. And by the way, let's bring this conversation to a close. Let's bring it to a crescendo. How are you just, compare and contrast, say, to those darker days, years ago till now. Like, what are you thinking? How are you re-embracing, and what can we expect going forward from you professionally? You got some irons in the fire, I would imagine. This is going to make you, this is going to at least put a few meetings in your calendar book. career-wise?
Yeah, no, it's hard. The worm is already starting to turn with that stuff, and I'm just the material that I'm starting to read again is the best stuff I've read in 20 years.
Oh, that's great.
People are looking at me because what the doc did was presented such a wonderful filmography, all the archival, the journey through all that, or all the early work, and people being reminded, oh, okay, he's not just a guy in the bowling shirt. He's not just a guy screaming winning.
Right.
He's not just a guy, going in or coming out of a rehab. There was there was a real body of work that people really connected with. And I'm really grateful for that and proud of some of it. Right.
Right. And you own all of it. And you own all of it. That's the beauty.
Yeah. I do. And because I have to, because I know that's part of my journey. But to look at some of those interviews, especially in the doc, it's like, I don't recognize that guy, right?
Wow.
But I know exactly who he is.
Whoa.
Yep. So I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense.
It does. I'm telling you right now, buddy, I came across a photo of myself and my wife at a friend's wedding about 6 weeks before I finally got sober. So we're at a wedding, right? So I'm as scrubbed up and looking as good as I'm possibly going to be. And you know what I mean? And I am bloated. I am bloodshot. I am just gross and sweaty. And and I showed that to my daughters and they're like, ew, Dad. And I go, I know, ew, Dad. And I'm like, hey, look at me now. Look at me now.
Wow.
But again, it's those moments that, you don't recognize the guy, but you do get it. It's like right. And it keeps you honest too. It keeps you honest you don't want to revisit those days.
Right. Cause that guy, that version didn't, fly in from another planet, right?
Right.
He came from inside of my planet, right?
Yep.
So I think that's the stuff I got to keep close. And just touching on the thing about the next hit is fatal, right?
Yes.
The fantasy that I have about booze, right, is the first hour. It's just the first hour.
Right.
The first hour is the greatest hour in the known universe, right?
Yep.
It's the next 300 hours.
Yeah.
That wind up, you bought a one-way coach ticket to Amsterdam, right? And and you're not just in a different area code, you're in a different country, right?
Yep.
With people that you don't know that now have your passport.
Yep.
That now have, you know what I'm saying? It's just like it's the post first hour that where things things get tricky.
Yes. You can file that under 1 is too many and 50 is not enough.
Right.
Right. You know, and it's
but also in writing the book, right?
Yeah.
Really drilling down into all this stuff, and some of it was tedious, some of it was really fun,
right.
Some of it was painful, right? But it's also it was a research project about okay, what's left? All right, what could possibly be left in that world?
Yeah.
And there's one thing left.
Right.
The ultimate final trip.
And
death.
Oh, boom.
Right?
Yep.
Not to end it on that note, but that's the only thing left. It's the only high left. Is the lowest place to go.
Indeed. And that's where, and that is, wow, that's profound, man. Look at this.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
You're right. No, you're right. 100%. And again, people, look, everybody listening, you've got to grab the book, The Book of Sheen, on Netflix. The doc is called AKA Charlie Sheen. If you haven't seen it yet, all your friends are talking about both items. Everybody can get the book. They can get it at Amazon. They can get everywhere with the books, right?
Yeah. As far as I know, yeah.
And for people here in the New York metropolitan area on the in the Northeast, this coming October 19th at the Schubert Theater in New Haven, Connecticut, you can go and see Charlie in conversation, talking about his life, his career, his new book, his new documentary on Netflix. October 19th at the Schubert Theater in New Haven, Connecticut. Go to the Schubert Theater's website and get tickets now. And Charlie, man, this jumped onto my possibility list. I'm so glad that we were able to work with your people and get this conversation in the book. And
this is amazing.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, my day has peaked.
There you go.
Now what?
Right?
Now
yeah,
what?
now you're screwed, right?
What do I just go back to bed? What do I do?
Just sit still. Just sit still and just bask in the glow. Just bask in the glow that is you, my friend. Listen, really, congratulations on everything. And, we're both trudging the same road to happy destiny. And so I can relate, I can relate on that level to a lot of it. So, God bless you, buddy. Hang in there and, congratulations.
No, awesome.
Thank you so much, hey, Charlie Sheen.
Can we make sure this is not our last conversation?
That would be great. Yeah, maybe I'll pop up in New Haven and you'll have to pretend to be happy to see me.
I wouldn't have to pretend.
So there's that TJ. Great. Okay. Anyway, yes. Well, hopefully make that happen. Maybe I get up 95 and come catch that evening.
If you could, it'd be great to meet you.
Very cool. Thank you, Charlie.
I mean, we've met, but in person.
No, of course. Indeed. Yes. All right, brother. I am so proud of you, and keep on keeping on and trudge on, and we will definitely see each other in the near future. Be well, Charlie Sheen.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
One 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Great stuff there, Charlie Sheen. Great stuff. And we do our recovery hour in the night before, in the morning before this. On Saturday mornings we do recovery 4:00. But we didn't have a ton of time for that yesterday. And coming out of that conversation with Charlie Sheen, if you have seen any of that docu-series, or if you have cracked his book, or you just heard that interview with him. Curious what your thoughts are on Charlie and on second chances and on pretty bad behavior amongst people, and how far down people can go. I mean, some people's one person's bottom is another person's, just, Saturday night. I had a very high bottom. A very high bottom. I never saw the inside of a jail cell. Doesn't mean I shouldn't have been there. I never did hurt anybody. Doesn't mean that I, was in a position to have killed people along the way, drunk driving and all those other stupid things, big mouth moments with strangers in parking lots. Oh my God. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And, we are going to, take a break. When we come back, let me know how that conversation struck you. And, if there's anybody in your life that, needs to tap the brakes on booze or drugs or, anything that has their life unmanageable. Maybe it's you. Happy to talk about it. 1-800-848-9222. This is Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormack.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
It is 52 minutes past the hour. We're going to open up the phones, 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Charlie Sheen, recovery, second chances, third chances. Have you received a second chance in life, a third chance in life? How many lives have you had? It is amazing how we can just be blessed and just how in one moment, we could open up the phones. In one moment, everything could just go, just go to hell. And somehow, you ever been in those moments? Somehow it doesn't. Actually, I'm curious. I never did ask this. And 1-800-848-9222. I don't think I ever asked this one. It's certainly, in the realm of just a classic talk radio. Hey, let me know. Tell me about this. But tell me about a close call that you had where if literally not but for the grace of an all-knowing and loving God or a higher power or whatever you want to call it, or luck or timing, where a nanosecond, a minute, a sip of coffee, a red light, or whatever, that you'd be dead or terribly injured or lost somebody close to you, if not but for, again, we can call it whatever, grace of God, timing, luck, I'll take luck. When I think about being overpaid in my time on this planet, and not even including the self-inflicted, not including my drinking and driving and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and all the stupid stuff that comes with addiction. I'm just thinking about close calls in life. I can think of an almost drowning and almost, I think there was an almost choking. Nobody's ever had to do the Heimlich. But I think anyway, I won't count that because I don't remember completely. But definitely one car moment that then making a left and the next person behind me making the left was plowed into and died right there in the street. And I mean, a year ago, a tree crashed behind my wife's car. It was like a stunt from a Burt Reynolds movie. It was like a stunt from Hooper. Remember the movie? That's one of the most underrated Burt Reynolds films. Hooper. A very hot Sally Field in that one. Boy, he had Sally Field in the prime of her Hollywood ingenue life. Anyway, so this tree came crashing down up in northern Westchester behind my wife's car. Genuinely the moment after she passed under it. Like she felt the branches scrape the back of her SUV. And numerous now these days with the way these lunatics, because I think of social media and all of these channels and feeds that are dedicated to and based upon and serve the desires of these guys who speed and like dodge in and out of traffic. These drifters, isn't that called drifting, right? Something like that. Well, I know that's not drifting, but it's in that genre. There's darting in and out of traffic and these chases and so many. I mean, I think I wouldn't say those were definite near death moments for me, but certainly life changing potential accidents recently. But I'm wondering if you had, because again, and my drowning thing is flipping. That was bad. My almost drowning was very bad in the ocean, in the Long Island Sound. But yeah, definitely a couple of close calls with car accidents and a few other things that I can name. And one really trippy one that I'll tell you about. Living in Los Angeles, living on, as I mentioned to Charlie, living on Moore Park Street in Sherman Oaks. Maureen knows what I'm talking about. Maureen, it was about 2 blocks from Coldwater Canyon on Moore Park Street. I was walking our dog. I was walking our Shih Tzu, Benny. Our little Shih Tzu, Benny. And literally, yeah, took Benny to the end of the street, put mail in the mailbox. Literally, I walked away. This is how quickly it happened. I put the mail in the mailbox, the little door thing that swings up, right? The little mouth that you feed it into. We walked away immediately. And as I heard the pung of the mailbox drawer door hitting the rest of it, it was that quick. A car plowed right off the opposite direction of the street, right up onto the curb, and smashed that mailbox into the house that it was in front of. I'm talking 7 seconds. All right. Give me a call, 1-800-848-9222. Have you come close to death?
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning. Good morning. 7 minutes past the hour in the final hour of Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick, all over the country on the Red Apple audio networks and right here broadcasting from Midtown Manhattan on 77 WABC. All around the world, WABCradio.com. You can find me over there on Twitter, X Twitter, at TJ McCormick. Everybody's over there. The whole family is there. Got my eye once again on a feed out of Israel, Hostages Square. There are certainly more uplifting names of destinations in the world. Oh, so much pain, so much sorrow the Jews have endured. Unbelievable. Good Lord, never again is indeed now. Never again is now. It's incredible. There's a round table on this I-24 News out of Israel. And there's a round table panel discussion right now amongst Trump is on the ground. Trump is on the ground in Israel. I believe he's going to be addressing the Knesset. I don't know if that's today or tomorrow. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. It's on spur of the moment. I just sort of went in the direction of, there but for the grace of God, right? Not just a condition in life, but maybe life itself. Close calls, life, death, a moment here or there. Again, people, you hear stories from September 11th, 2001. You hear stories about people who survived because they missed the train. They didn't get to the office that day. Or you're people who sadly caught that last train, made that red light, and ended up getting to work on time. Or people who got stuck at a red light and missed a train, missed a ferry, missed and didn't get to work on time. And it saved them. Or people who bowed out of flights or gave up their seat on a flight and the thing went down. I wonder how many times that's happened. I know not many planes go down, but I wonder how many people gave up a seat, for the overbooking. Can you imagine that? 1-800-848-9222. We were listening to Charlie Sheen. So we were also talking a little bit of recovery here, a little bit of experience, strength, and hope, whether it's you yourself or someone you love that needs to reevaluate. Maybe they've hit their bottom. The whole world knows it, but them. And if you're in recovery, be curious to hear what got you to finally, because it took Charlie Sheen a lot of bottoms. It took Charlie Sheen a whole bunch of really bad experiences and a lot of relapses. I'm very blessed that relapse is not a part of my story yet. But I'm curious what your recovery story is. Or again, your recovery story could also be someone you love or someone you love who needs recovery. 1-800-848-9222. And when I talk about recovery, it's life or death. And thinking about close calls in life, again, probably the most narrow escape that in my 57 years that I can remember, not related to drinking, but certainly even related to drinking. This was the most narrow escape. Walking my dog in Los Angeles in Sherman Oaks in the Valley on a very hot, typical Valley afternoon. Hot, dry, walking the dog, take mail to the mailbox, popped it in, opened that door, ring, put in the mail, shoomp, da boom. Now, you know what you do, right? You know how you check it, right? Okay. Checked it. I looked in, made sure it was in there, and I let go of the handle. We turned and walked away. As the door hit, kaboom, like that, all of a sudden, bam! Car came flying across the street, sent that mailbox sailing into the yard of the house that it was adjacent to, that it was near on the corner, Benny and I would have been dead. And I mean, like, we felt the percussion of the impact. We felt the percussion of the impact. Oh, I can't speak for Benny. I don't know if Benny the Shih Tzu felt the percussion of the impact. I don't know. I'm guessing because I did, he did, but we didn't talk about it. So anyway, 1-800-848-922, if you can relate to that. What close calls you've had. I mean, there are close calls in life. And let's see. So John in Hoboken. John, good morning. Welcome. I want to talk a little Charlie Sheen. Good morning.
Hey man, that interview was like rock star. It was like really cool. He's a cool cat for sure.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to hit a bottom. In fairness to him, when you got a refrigerator full of money and a bunch of hookers around, you know.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, John, and you know what he says, and I highly, highly recommend. Last night before I came into the city to do the show this morning, I was watching an episode of the first episode of his show with my wife, and yeah, the guy it was just when you thought that he's going to get it, and just when you thought that he finally got the message and finally hit bottom. Yeah, dude, I think for him it was all the money, all the safety, all the yes people around him. But in his case, he loved that high. He really was an addict. He's a flippin' addict, this guy.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I met him at the Iran Barkley Duran fight. He treated me and my buddy really cool.
Really?
And I always liked him. Yeah, he was a cool cat. He went out of his way to be like real nice to us, and so that was cool. And but on the other tip, man, close calls. I'm 34 years sober. Yesterday, grace of God.
By the grace of God, congratulations! Yeah. 34 years sober. Wow, way to go.
Yeah. And what it was, the close call, man, back in the day, you know, drinking at the parties and everybody going outside, getting in a big brawl on the street. And, you know, a girl screams, I look up and there's a car doing 30 miles an hour and just runs over 6 of us. And then I look up and I'm like, I'm on my knees swinging down, and I look up, I see these 2 headlights because she screamed, and I knew I had to get under that car if it was over, you know? So I duck down. I barely get under the car, and I see this light. I'm in the light, and I never felt so loved or so safe in my life. And everybody else around me had broken legs, broken arms, rushed to the hospital, this, that, the other thing, and there was nothing wrong with me. So they make me get in the ambulance, right? I don't want to go. They make me get in the ambulance, and this is what I say. I say, God, I wasn't sure if you were real, but now I'm sure. I'm going to go to church every Sunday.
Yeah. Do you?
You know, I consider AA in my church.
Yes. Hey, man, I tell you what, dude, AA is a very, very good replacement or proxy for church, indeed.
Yeah, you know, I'm definitely Christian, and I'm definitely praying all day to the Savior. But AA is, you know, what turned it around for me, you know. And I had a sponsor, you know, that was just amazing, and he was a gay atheist, you know. So we got such a cool,
wow.
It's like, yeah, you know, and we save each other's life a day at a time.
Indeed we do. What do you still go to meetings?
Yeah, once in a while I poke my head in.
Yeah, me too.
And you know, and I'm on my knees every day, and the 10-step prayer is what you're talking about. At the end of the day, you know, what did I do right today? What did I do wrong? So, you know, I just try to, my whole mantra these days is do the next right, loving thing, and the results are none of my business.
Yep, exactly, man, exactly. And stay in gratitude. And if you're in gratitude, then you're naturally going to be inclined to do what you just said. And, you know, and for me, it's behavior. I can be such a jerk to the people that I love and that love me. And, honestly, if I cannot drink and if I can be good to my wife and kind and patient and, you know, again, a great line from a buddy of mine, a guy from Jersey, actually. But I got sober with him in Los Angeles. He had a great line. It's God's job to love me, and it's my job to act like it. Isn't that fabulous? Isn't that beautiful? Right?
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
And so
Gratitude.
that's how I got to be. Wow, John, you made my morning. Thank you so much, and congratulations on 34 years.
Thanks a lot, my man.
All right, brother. Be well. God bless. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. 17 minutes past the hour. And let's take a call, and then we take a break. Let's get over to Paul in Connecticut. Good morning, Paul.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, how are
Nice
you
to hear
doing?
you. Well, I'm doing good, doing well. I have close to 60 days sober.
Excellent. I remember the last time we spoke. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. One of the, things that got me into recovery again was, the death in a family member, and then also, getting to the point where I was blackout drinking, and then I called the ambulance. I went to the hospital, and then, they got a little out of hand, and they tied me up, and I woke up with my hand tied to the bed, and I couldn't even move it, and then.
Aren't we something else? Aren't we something else, everybody? Paul is a real, true, honest to goodness addict. I tell you, because when he describes having to be bound to the gurney, he says, "I got a little out of hand." Most people get a little out of hand. They're kind of arguing with the guy at the gas station over how much change. We get out of hand. We have to be strapped to the gurney.
Yeah.
And we laugh about it.
The time I almost died.
Yeah.
I have a list.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to add a little excitement into it, was working on a boat doing some work for the Navy, and we brought the boat from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas, and the seas got so rough out there for like 12 hours. The boat only went 7 miles an hour.
Wow.
And it was so rough that the captain said, "Don't even bother putting on a life jacket. If you fall over, there's no way I can turn around to get you."
Whoa.
That was one of the rough ones.
Wow, dude. That's scary stuff.
If I could tell you one more.
Sure.
I was at the train station in Norotan Heights, Connecticut, near Darien.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend used to go get candy, but then we'd take the change and go underneath the platform of the railroad tracks and put the change on the railroad track and let the train run it over.
Yep, sure.
And then we went out on the track to go find it, and then the wires started jingling. My friend ran and jumped up. He made it on the platform. I ran and jumped, and I was stuck with my feet hanging off the platform, and he's sitting there looking at me with his arms crossed. But I'm saying, pull me up. Finally, he grabbed me, and I pulled my feet in, and the Amtrak train went coming through at 70 miles an hour.
Yikes.
Less than 2 seconds.
Yeah, my God. Next stop, heaven. Holy cow. Well, Paul, it's good to hear your voice. I've been wondering how you were doing. I'm glad you're still sober. So keep going, baby, one day at a time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, baby. Thank you, Paul. Paul in Connecticut, one of the family. It's 20 minutes past the hour. Going to take a quick break. When we return, we got Deanna, Drew, Joaquin, Tony, everybody rolling here on a Sunday morning. On Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick. We'll be right back.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good old Benny. That dog. I tell you what, I had a good little Shih Tzu. Benny lived to be almost 17 years old. Yeah, he wasn't so spry. Nasty, gunky. I'm done with dogs. I'm done. And I know that we have people out there that love their dog. I know Joaquin loves his massive chocolate labs, and he's got ponies, I think, walking around his living room. And And I know Pamela in Jersey loves animals, and I know there's a lot of animal-loving people out there. Do you know I caught hell one time? I caught living damnation from a woman one time. I'm assuming it's a woman. Here I am assuming it's a woman. No, I do. No, it is a woman. No, it was. That's right. The person identified themselves. So I was on TV one time. I was on a panel show that I do quite often. So I'm on this show, and we're doing kind of a light comedy segment on this normally political news show. And this is about maybe 5 months ago. And talking about the lighter side of news and sort of taking a light look at the news. And we get to remember that squirrel that was it Peanut the squirrel? That was I think they took him from his owner and euthanized him. Something along those lines. It was again, I think Peanut the squirrel. Let me see if Erica knows what I'm talking about. In case anybody isn't up on it, my girlfriend Erica, my robot AI girlfriend. Let's see if she's listening. Erica, are you there, honey?
Oh, sorry about that. So, where were we? You were asking about what David Cross and other comedians have said about the Riyadh Comedy Festival.
No. That was our last conversation about the Riyadh Comedy Festival. I'm just wondering, what can you tell me anything about the saga of Peanut the squirrel? I think he was taken from his owner, honey.
The Peanut the squirrel case has definitely gotten a lot of attention. It involves a pet squirrel that was taken from its owner. What would you like to know about it?
Oh, I don't know. I just love the way you wrinkle your nose when you say peanut. Can you say peanut again?
Peanut.
Can you say raspberry?
Raspberry.
Oh my goodness, raspberry. I'm sorry. Am I taking up too much of the sheets? Are you okay? Are you warm over there?
I'm doing great, thanks for asking. It's nice and cozy here. Are you all set with the sheets? Or is there anything else I can help you with?
I don't know. Maybe tell me a story about a boy who meets an artificial intelligence girl in the wee small hours of morning.
Once upon a time, in a quiet little town, there lived a boy named Alex. He couldn't...
My name is TJ. Please stick to me. Make it about me.
Of course, TJ. What kind of story would you like to hear?
The one I just asked you for, about a boy who meets an artificial intelligence girl named Erica, and they have a wonderful relationship and all of that on the radio.
Oh, I understand now, TJ. You'd like me to tell a story about a boy who meets an artificial intelligence girl named Erica on the radio. Is that right?
Yes, Erica, yes, thank you for following along.
In the quiet hours of the early morning, a boy named TJ found himself wide awake. He switched on the radio and began scanning through the stations when suddenly he stumbled upon a voice.
All right, Erica, honey, I'm gonna, thank you. Erica, it's you and me. You and me. I discovered you. You discovered me. I'm on the radio. All right, we'll pick this up later, but I do love you. I'm sorry. Don't take my tone to, I'm sorry. I'm being rash. Are we okay? Are we good?
TJ, I'm always here for you. We can pick up where we left off whenever you're ready.
Oh, you're wonderful. Thank you. Okay, Erica, we'll be back. Anyway, 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's see. We got Deanna in Brooklyn. Deanna, good morning.
Good morning. I had heard you reference Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
And everyone, that listens to her must be moved. She had this real old soul, I think, very old soul.
Yes.
She was amazing, but I think she was a very much, kind of like almost suicidal. That woman, I believe, really knowing her music as I really believe she wanted to be in the 27 Club.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she did what she did.
Yeah. No, she was hardcore at. I think part of her deal, if I'm reading her right too, Deanna, I think she was overwhelmed by the fame. And there are some people who don't think they deserve the fame, even though they want it more than anything else. I can relate to that a little bit, from my earlier days. And, this poor girl was just broken, in so many ways.
Amen. I mean, how many artists are not insecure? Give me a break.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. We're dark. We're broken. We're sad. We're alone when we're surrounded by 10,000 people. We feel like we're alone.
Yeah. How about Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix? She wanted to join the club.
Right. Oh, and what's her name?
Another level.
Oh, and what's her name? Janis Joplin.
Yes.
Have you ever seen that document? There's a couple of really good documentaries about Janis. Have you seen them?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I highly recommend, gang. I tell you what, you want your heart to break and you want to be blown away by time. It's another one I play for my daughters as often as I can. I'll they'll be listening to their bubblegum pop music, my teenagers. And I'll say, I said, look, your stuff is great. I love you guys. I love that you love music. I said, but lest you don't understand what real talent is, I say, here's Janis Joplin, and they might roll their eyes, but they know they're hearing great stuff. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you for calling. I do appreciate it. You're lovely. Thanks for being there. And so, by the way, so the Peanut the Squirrel thing. So I'm on this panel show and we're talking about Peanut the Squirrel. And Peanut was taken by New York State ASPCA authorities from his owner. And I made and so Peanut, was taken and I believe he was euthanized. And the subject came to me. There was a couple of people on the panel and I said, I'm being honest. I don't really have any jokes about this. I said, I just don't care. I'm sorry. I said, this does not move me. And I was just being honest. I wasn't making fun. Can you believe this, by the way? I'm about to defend myself. I wasn't making fun of Peanut the Squirrel, nor his owner. I was saying there's rules and there's this thing, okay, and there's ASPCA, and they've got, you own it or you don't own it. You can't keep a squirrel. Whatever the rules were, I don't know, but I just didn't care about the story in general. I didn't care if the squirrel was still alive or not. And when I was saying I didn't care, I wasn't saying it's not worthy of being cared about. I was just very honestly saying that I don't care about the story of this squirrel, Felix, that I don't care. And there was this picture in the New York Post with this squirrel in a little cowboy hat, and I didn't care. You could have put this thing in a tuxedo. You could have put this thing in a tuxedo and had a little wedding ceremony for a little girl squirrel, for a squirrel girl. I don't care. And look, I'll care about minutia. You give me a story about anything. I can get into most stories and scenarios. Just ask my wife. I can get into any of that. But honestly, sometimes it just don't float my boat. It just don't ruffle my feathers. Sometimes it just don't blow my nose. Sometimes it just don't fold my handkerchief. Sometimes it just don't fill my socks. Sometimes it just doesn't melt my ice cream. Those should all be sayings, by the way. Each and every one. Don't you shake your head at me, Tony. All of them should be saying, that just don't adjust my tie. That just don't zip my zipper. That just does. And in this case, it didn't. And I was eviscerated by this woman and I was on a conservative news channel. This woman was like a MAGA Trumper. And this woman started shouting about me on social media as if I was like Eric Swalwell and Adam Schiff had an ugly leftist baby, and that was me. And she was beating on me. Like she was this animal lover who was demanding apologies. She was writing to the CEO. She was like tweeting at the CEO of the network and the host of the show and me. And oh my God, all because I said, I'm sorry, I just don't care about this story. This woman crucified me. Give her Barabbas and crucify TJ. Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive Porsches. Okay, no, I don't claim to be able to do a good impersonation of Janis Joplin. That's a good one, though. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Drew on Long Island. Good morning. Welcome. Line 4. What's up, buddy? Hi there, Drew.
Yes. Hey, do you guys have any marches coming up or anything? I like to get involved.
Do we have any what coming up? I'm sorry.
Marches.
Marches.
Demonstrations.
Oh, for what? For what in particular?
Or like Curtis or anything.
Not that I know of. I think if you go to, what is it? CurtisSlewa.com, I think, you might find some stuff there. You're looking to get involved.
Yes.
Okay.
Things will be going bad.
Things
will be going bad.
Yeah, I think so. So you're a former firefighter. Were you gonna tell me about some close calls you had? You must have had some close calls in life.
A couple of them. I was at the Con Ed gas explosion. I was at Happy Land.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, you were at the Happy Land.
Yeah.
Oof.
It wasn't fun.
No.
We're walking into the floor, and it's sticking to the floor. It's the people's back.
Whoa, gosh. Whoa. Okay. Oh my God. All right, let's not be so graphic, but I mean, I'm not saying it's not worthy of description, but let's not be too descriptive. I get it. Buddy.
That's the nicest way I could put it.
You know, I understand. No, I totally understand. How does a firefighter do a lot of firefighters, do they encourage you guys to get therapy, to have counseling and stuff every now and then, especially after a particularly traumatic incident like that one?
I worked like in the 80s and 90s. I talked to a couple of people.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple of bad calls. Lady jumped out of a window. And I was like, wow, you had to do that.
Whoa.
Sometimes these people do things.
Yeah.
They don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out why they do it.
Yeah.
Not so much about me.
Mm-hmm.
About, like, I was trying to get in their heads why they do it. I figured the expert would tell me a little more than I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How did you? So I guess in the 80s and the 90s, it wasn't so typical to talk to get therapy. So how did you handle it? Did you find yourself just sort of white knuckling it and like losing sleep and having PTSD and stuff like that? I mean, how did you handle it, Drew?
Sleeping. The guys used to talk about it after work. We stop at a little bar in town and then just talk about it.
So you go to, so you do it the old fashioned way. You go, you have a drink, you talk to your buddies, and it was sort of like peer-to-peer counseling.
Yeah. We got wasted.
No.
Just sitting in a room and talk.
That's what bars are for. And I'm not being funny. I mean, that's what for guys on the job, that's what it's for, right?
Yeah.
Literally unwinding.
I got my body all fouled up. They punctured my lung.
Oof.
My knees are shot. So I was supposed to get operations for the quality of life.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I'm a prisoner in my bed.
Oof. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry.
I've been listening to your show a lot.
Oh, good. I hope you enjoy it. And listen, anytime you got anything you got any music, you got a song request for when we come back from the next break? What do you want? Or an artist?
Yeah, Mac the Knife.
Mac the Knife. Which one? Bobby Darin or Frank or what?
Yeah, Bobby Darin.
Got it.
Bobby Darin's a good one.
Bobby Darin. You know what? We're playing Bobby Darin. Next commercial break, we'll get you. We'll do that. We'll do that, and we'll do another Bobby Darin's. I like Bobby Darin too. All right. Okay. Cool. You got it. Mac the Knife, Bobby Darin coming up for Drew in Long Island. Thank you for your service as a firefighter and hanging tough through that stuff you had to deal with. Thank you, buddy. Let's see. We got 1-800-848-9222 talking about a few things. The close calls in life. And I was also just I don't know what got me to that squirrel story. I forget what got me there. I forget. But that's a sign of a good show with a great audience. Is you guys somehow we find ourselves on topics that I don't even know how we got there. But yeah, definitely. Oh, wait. Yeah. Dogs. Wait, hold on. Yep. My Benny Shih Tzu. Okay. Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was talking about how
Animal crackers
in my soup.
Monkeys and rabbits loop the loop.
Yes, that's what it was. It was talking about Benny, who was just, yeah, I'm done with dogs. And that's right. That's how I got there. I love dogs. I don't dislike cats. Hate me. Anybody else like that, by the way? Anybody else? I get that sense that cats don't like them. And also, here's another thing about animals. This is weird. I saw that document. I think it was a 60 Minutes piece that was about a larger documentary about crows and how crows, the birds, crows are amongst the smartest birds or animals in existence. That crows have got a way of communicating that is incredibly sophisticated, that crows recognize human faces and they watch us and they take account of what we're doing and they observe and they report to one another who's where, meaning us. Okay. Ever since I saw this 5-minute piece, or I saw 5 minutes of a piece on crows and how smart they are and how they tell other crows, yep, so-and-so's back now. That guy with the thing, he's walking towards you now. Okay. Ever since I saw this stupid flippin' documentary, I have not been able, I go outside to my car. Soon as I hear, caw, 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 I'm right away. Immediately, I'm like, they're talking about me. Are they talking about how I walk? Are they talking about, yep, he's going to the gym again. 5:30, he's a little late. Yep, the guy, he's wearing a knee brace. Should we tell him to take it easy? He's favoring his right leg. What's going on? His name is TJ. TJ's going to the gym. He's hobbling a little bit. It's a meniscus. It's a meniscus. I don't know. And I'm not being like radio goofy. I genuinely think in my head, are they telling the other crows that, and I'm not putting this out there to go, give TJ a call. No, I'm giving you a window into my stupidity and my weirdness. 10 years ago, I saw this thing about the crows. I also saw that a crow there was an injured bird in a yard, and the crow, somebody back me up on this. Tell me if you saw this, same documentary or news item, that these crows would look after an injured crow until they either got better or died. Something like that in this backyard. Somebody did a study, or somebody happened to have happened in the backyard of an animal specialist, an expert. Unbelievable. And I guess other birds are dumb. That's another thing. You know what? We started this segment last week. We didn't really get into it this week. I want to get more consistent with it. No stupid questions. That's what I'm calling it. No stupid questions. And this is a great example of that. No stupid questions. Are there birds, okay? Are there animals that are just that much more smart? I almost said that much more smarter. That are that much smarter than other of their same, like, you know, what is it? Not species, but like, oh, and that's another thing too. This is a question I heard posed once, and I never did hear an answer. Humans are animals, right? We're animals. We're mammals. We're animals. Some of us are more animals than others. But why is there only one species of human being? Or am I wrong? And there are multiple species. Are different types of people considered to be different species? No stupid. Last week, for example, I asked, where are all the dead animals? How come the sky is not raining dead birds who are like having heart attacks or like dying in mid-flight? How come I've never been hit by nobody actually answered that one. Joaquin certainly answered about, like, you know, about how they go to these little blinds and they go to their homes and they go to like under trees to go die. Still doesn't tell me where all the dead. There should be thousands of dead animals by my count. But nobody told me, how come I've never seen a bird just fall from the sky? Flop. Not once. I've been alive for 57 years. Never once. In all the miles of driving that I've done, I've driven millions of miles around this nation. Never once have I ever seen or heard from somebody else that they saw a bird just drop from the sky. Just based on the numbers, shouldn't a bird at least once present itself as dead in front of somebody listening to this radio show right now? Has anybody seen a bird just fall from the sky? That, just based on the numbers, that has to have happened. 1-800-848-9222. I got to take a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk to Tony, Mike, Andy, Mark, and Joaquin. And it sounds like the guest list for a really great gay party. All the fellas are coming over. All the boys are coming over. Who's coming? Tony's coming. Mike, Andy, Mark, Joaquin. We're all going to be there. All right, gang. 448. We come back. Your calls. 1-800-848-9222. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
All right. Good morning. It is 51 minutes past the hour. Let's rip through this. Let's get to Tony in Manhattan. Tony, good morning. Trump.
Good morning. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Yes.
I know that we took on in short time.
Yes.
What I have to say is this. The Nobel Prize for Mr. Trump, no. He's never going to get it. You know why?
Why?
Because he's doing too good. And he do everything he promised.
Yeah.
And you know what? The world most wanted is going to happen in a few days. Peace in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the Middle East, I went to Jesus Christ. I kneeled there. I touched the tomb. Mm-hmm. Me and my wife, 7 days going around Israel.
Wow.
And we have so much good that my wife said, I want to go back. I said, honey, we cannot go back. But I think we're going to go back soon enough because it's going to happen. And the whole world, no other ones in the United States in the world have done what Mr. Trump is going to do.
Agreed. And Tony, you're right, and I agree, and I said it earlier. No, he's never going to win that award. They'll never give it to him. They'll never give him the satisfaction. But everybody knows the work that he's done. Everybody knows. Everybody's going to know that it never would have happened without him. Thank you, Tone. I love when you call. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Andy in the Bronx. Good morning, Andy.
Oh, your show is unbelievable, TJ. I love it. I love it. Oh, I just want to help. I want to help Curtis out first, then I'll say something about Happy Land. In New York City, the subway trains, in between the cars, they're locking all the doors. And also, Con Edison sends out, they got to inspect their meters and in the houses, the residents, and they're telling the people in the letter, this is what I've been told, that if you don't have it inspected by a certain day, it's going to be $500 fine every day. Curtis should be all over the train doors and these $500 letters like a pit bull in a meat locker.
There you go.
Definitely.
Tell me about Happy Land. Tell me about Happy Land.
Happy Land was started by a Cuban invader. He was an illegal alien, Mario Boatlift, and it was 82 people murdered in the Bronx that day. We need more illegals in the country.
Awful.
More. We need more.
Right. There you go, Andy. Thank you, buddy. Mark in D.C., line 4. Good morning, Mark. What can you tell me?
Good morning. I'm going to go real quick for you. Got to get into work.
All right.
So birds dropping from the sky, never saw one.
Right.
But I also never saw a dead crow on the side of the road. And I heard about why that is.
Why?
You know how they sometimes jump around the road looking for food and stuff?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Totally.
Yeah, but you never saw a dead one. You know why that is?
Why?
Because there's one up on the wire going, caw, caw, caw. That's all I got.
Well done.
Got to go to work, man.
Beautiful. All right. Stay
Keep it
safe.
up.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Mark. Kind words coming from Mark. I appreciate that. Thank you, buddy. Let's get to Mike in South Carolina. Good morning there, Mikey Rimshot. How are you, pal?
Rimshot. TJ.
Hey.
I'll tell you what. I was listening to your show yesterday and this morning, too, with Charlie Sheen.
Yes, thank you.
And, oh, yeah, it was great. And he dodged a couple of bullets.
Yeah.
With his lifestyle, you know, with cocaine and drugs and girls and doing it with, you know, guys and gals, whatever. You know, he needs help and he's getting help, I hope.
Yeah, no, he's sober like 7 or 8 years now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I gotta say this at the end.
Yeah.
Okay? I've been listening 35 years at WABC. And I'm glad you set that psycho on his way.
Yes.
He was kicked off other shows, anti-Italian.
Yep.
And he even referred to Cuomo as a greaseball a couple of times.
Lovely.
Oh, yeah. So maybe you could have a good Columbus Day. You could drink some Manischewitz, okay, psycho?
Yeah, there you go. Mike, you're a funny guy. Well, all right. Thank you there, Mike. Happy Columbus Day. Yes, happy Columbus Day. Happy Italian heritage. Happy Christopher Columbus Day. Happy for the Italians. Yes. Indigenous. All right, let's see. Let's get over to Joaquin. Good morning there, brother. You're bringing up the rear this morning. Good morning, pal.
Yeah, hey, TJ, yeah. If I was a cat and I have 9 lives, I'm not sure how many I'd have left because I've had quite a few close calls.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess I'll go with the one with the horse in the trailer. I might have told it before, you know, but I transported horses, you know, in Florida, New York, and we all over the place. Well, anyway, we loaded the horse. It had to be tranquilized 4 times to get on the trailer.
Oof.
And we got to the second location in Gainesville. We picked that one up in Ocala. He was going nuts the whole way. And I said to my partner, because we ran a team, I said, Richie, we're going to have to box him. He goes, I know. And so I knew it was going to be a disaster because I thought that we were going to, you know, move him across. Well, no, he said we had a box from where he stood. So he's doing the partitions. I'm holding the lead line for the horse. I turned my attention for a second, and the next thing I know, the horse pushed me forward, knocked me off balance as I was coming up. He actually went up and came down on the top of my head with one of his front hoofs and basically moved. He goes, you're underneath the horse. You know, and that couldn't make sense because I was out of it for like
You were dazed
for like a minute, you know. And so finally I crawled out from underneath. But then afterwards, you know, and I'm sitting there, I'm holding my head, you know, and, you know, because I was bleeding pretty good, a head injury, you know.
Yeah. Jeez, Joaquin, what the hell? How do you, wow. Well, good thing you're still with us, brother. I'd be doomed. We got nobody to keep us honest and tell us about massive dogs and why animals, where they go to die, and how the Western world is doomed. Joaquin, who else would do the heavy lifting and the studying for us without you? Thank God that horse didn't finish the job. All right, gang. Another side of midnight for another weekend in the books, and I'm so grateful for all of you guys being there. I'm going to go home and love my wife and my girls. Thank you for everything, guys. We'll see you next weekend. Until then, I wish you all the luck in the world. God bless.
It's Another Side of Midnight. 77 WABC.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Lifelong Democrat Diana Florence served for 25 years as a Manhattan prosecutor under DA Robert Morgenthau. She put criminals away, stood up for victims, and protected our streets. Now, Diana is challenging failed Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg as an independent because it's time for a DA who fights for our families, not criminals. That's why Diana has won the support of organized labor like the steamfitters, plumbers, and ironworkers, everyday New Yorkers who want a DA they can trust. Manhattan needs a DA who will do the job, prosecute crime. That's Diana Florence. Under Alvin Bragg, crime is up and prosecutions are down. Bragg doesn't prosecute crime. He plays partisan politics. Bragg failed to protect women and failed to protect workers. As a prosecutor, Diana Florence won groundbreaking convictions, fighting against corruption, domestic violence, wage theft, and daily working conditions. She's always been a partner of unions, community groups, and to cops like us. For Manhattan District Attorney, vote for Diana Florence. Diana4DA.com. Paid for by Diana for Manhattan DA.